George Fox University is one of Newberg's largest employers, yet many people who live here don't really know a whole lot about it other than it's a college. And there's also a lot of people who consider moving to Newberg and working at George Fox because it is one of the major employers here, but they want to know what it's like working at George Fox. So that's what we're going to be doing in today's video. I'm going to have Joe Thuno with me, who is essentially the director of human resources, but here it is the director of engagement and culture. We're going to be looking also around different aspects of George Fox. Each person's going to be sharing their favorite place here on campus. So we have a lot to cover. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, so we're going to be starting out with Joe Thuno, who I mentioned is the director of engagement and culture. I always want to say people and culture, that's the office. But anyway, so we'll get to what's behind us in just a second. But Joe, what is your role as the director of engagement and culture?
Yeah, thanks, Daniel. Well, I oversee basically all aspects of the employee experience, from recruitment to when someone applies to get to work at the university, all the way to retirement. When someone says, I think I'm done, I've spent such a great career here, I'm ready to move on and leave this place. I'm trying to make sure that they have a positive experience the whole way through.
Now, it's interesting because you're kind of in an interesting role where you are an employee of George Fox, but you're kind of the main person that people kind of come to when they're also wanting to be an employee. So do you do anything for yourself to make yourself feel like you're engaged?
Well, for myself, I am all about connection.
Okay.
So whether it's here at the university, just kind of building relationships with employees, that's one way, but then also outside of here, just making sure I have good connection points with people who don't work at the university, both in town, but also beyond town, just so I can have perspective and kind of find my own refreshment and those sorts of things.
Yeah. So what does George Fox do to help new employees feel engaged and like they belong?
We do so much for our new employees, and we really try to do a lot for all of our employees, but our newest employees, they get a pretty robust orientation and onboarding experience. In fact, for their first year of employment, they're part of an onboarding development series of courses and workshops with other new employees. So they're building community together. They're also learning about the mission of the university. They get to interact with senior leaders, and then we help them think about kind of their strengths and skills and what they're bringing to the university in kind of a unique way based on who they are.
Yeah. All right, Joe, so what is behind us? We've been looking at a few different spots, and we will be looking at more spots around campus as we go along. But this is one of your favorite spots already, and it's brand new. So what is behind us?
Well, I love this. This is our newest building on campus. It's our chapel. And we, as of yet, have not had a sacred space on campus purely for the purpose of worship and gatherings of that nature. We're a Christian university, so having kind of a sacred space for that purpose really, we think it's going to help point people to why we're here, which is for the Lord, and provide a great opportunity to just have at the center of our campus a reminder of our mission, our vision, and our values.
Awesome. So George Fox is one of the largest employers in Newberg, right? Do you know how many employees are here total?
Well, it's deceptive. We have about 550 kind of what we call regular employees, but we also employ hundreds of adjunct instructors, a couple thousand students that work on campus. So it's a large number, but I would say our kind of main employee base is that 550.
So people here, many of them live in Newberg, right? Or at least around the area.
Quite a number.
What do you guys do to help people feel like they belong, not just here at George Fox University, but also in the communities that they're in, like Newberg?
Yeah, well, we really try to keep a really strong relationship with the community of Newberg. George Fox and Newberg are very tied together. They have the same kind of founders at their kind of origin. And, what I love, when I come to a sporting event, a performing arts event on campus, it's not just George Fox people that are showing up. Yeah. We have community members that show up. We really try to make sure that there's lots of opportunities for people in our community to come on campus. We have something called Serve Day once a year, where we as an employee community go out beyond campus to our local communities and serve through various service projects. So that's a really great way that we build those connections.
Yeah. One of the things I've noticed as an alum is that a lot of people, even when they graduate, many other graduates then want to come back and work at George Fox, and they want to stay here in the community, which is one of the amazing things, is that there's like a continuing pouring in of young professionals
Yeah.
here into the community.
It's very true. Very true.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Joe. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank
Move
you.
on to our next candidate.
All right.
All right, next up, we've got Debbie Thomas. Debbie, thank you for joining me. So Debbie is the Dean of the College of Business, and we are on her favorite spot on the George Fox campus, which is, what do you just call this, the bridge?
The bridge.
The bridge.
Yeah.
I mean, the bridge has actually become one of the more like iconic spots. I see pictures all the time on social media with people posing here. So what do you love about the bridge, Debbie?
Honestly, one of the things I love the most about Oregon is nature. I
Okay.
just love nature, and there's something about this bridge where you're just standing up here
It's actually really
and
true.
you look over the side. Sometimes I see deer down there, and there's all kinds of paths and trails that when I have an extra minute, I go around on those paths and trails. I have found God in nature and being out in nature, being active in nature. And so just coming across this bridge, it feels like I get to be in nature, take a pause, take a breath
Yeah.
while I'm going across the bridge.
What do you love about being kind of overseeing the College of Business?
You know, there's something special about higher education. I have always loved learning all of my life, and so I love facilitating the learning of others. I love facilitating learning in a way that people actually transform in some
Yeah.
ways. That they come away with skills and knowledge that changes them, that changes who they are and how they interact with the world. And so for me, it's a very meaningful thing that I get
Yeah.
to do. We have an undergrad program, an MBA, and a doctoral program. And I get to interact with these students and I get to help them learn knowledge and skills that's going to make a difference in their lives.
Yeah.
And then I think about the impact that those students are going to have in our local businesses.
I think it's funny that you mentioned the bridge being your favorite spot because, as Joe pointed out, you are great at building bridges with the community. So can you share a little bit about what you've done with the College of Business and how you've connected at George Fox to the community?
You know, the College of Business, we are teaching business things, right? I have a whole bunch of people
Yeah.
with PhDs in business and with many, many years of experience in business on my faculty. And I just think about what a resource that is for our city.
Yeah.
How many businesses do we have in Newberg? We all depend on this community for our economic well-being, right? And so the more that I can find collaborative ways to interact with the community, to build into the community, to give what we have to give to serve the community, the better. So we do try and be really involved in the chamber and show up at those events and try and be a resource to other businesses. But we also do things like just have conversations about what would you love from higher education if you could, and start building partnerships and collaborations that have really never been done before.
Yeah.
That's a really sweet synergy between the business community and academia and higher education. So I think the future of higher education is more collaboration and synergy between business and education, and it makes us become more practical and connected. It gives our students all the connections they need to have jobs and to be successful in the workplace.
Yeah. Well, it turns out that it actually is the longest clear span timber truss bridge in the contiguous. I think that just means somewhere in Hawaii or Alaska, maybe there's one bigger. Anyway, so that's pretty cool. 220 feet, and it's the longest in the U.S. All right, Debbie, last question. What is your favorite thing about working at George Fox?
Well, to answer that question, I think I need to talk a little bit about my belief about work. Some people see work as a chore, something they don't want to do, and they're like, oh, I have to go to work. I have always seen work as a gift to me. I feel like God has given me gifts and He's given me time, and I find such pleasure in finding ways that I can collaborate with others to make this world a better place, and that's what work is,
Yeah.
right? So I get to come here to George Fox every day. I get to work with people who are amazing and smart and kind, and then the meaning, just knowing the impact that this place is having on lives of students, knowing the impact those students are having out in the world. That's a huge part of loving working at George Fox as well.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah.
All right, next up, we've got Derek Pritchett, who is the Director of Digital Transformation, right? Which is also IT. You know, George Fox really loves its colorful language about all the departments. They don't have human resources in IT. It's engagement and culture and digital transformation, which is great. All right, so now we're at Hadlock Student Center. Now, when I was at George Fox, pretty much none of this was here. We got Hadlock here. We've got the new cafeteria over here. So this whole side of the campus looks really different. Now, we'll get to what Hadlock is in a second and why it's one of your favorite places, but you've only been here for about 6 months, so this is pretty much all you've known, right?
Yeah.
All right, so what ultimately brought you to come to George Fox? You were from Texas,
Yep.
right?
Yep. Dallas, Texas, Dallas area. I love higher education. And a long story short, I wanted something new, and there was a job posting. My wife is originally from Oregon, and so everything just kind of came together. I had been watching Geoge Fox for a long time in my previous role.
You could have used this video, I'm sure.
Yeah, well, I came to Geoge Fox in Newberg. When we knew that we were coming to Newberg, I Googled, like, what's it like in Newberg? And Daniel was the first person that I saw. And so a lot of his videos were what got us at least oriented to what Newberg looked like. And also we bought a house from Daniel. So shout out.
Full disclosure. What is your favorite part about Geoge Fox so far?
Oregon is amazing for its beauty and the nature, and so I love going around to the campus bridge, the canyon bridge, and walking around the canyon and things like that. But there is a giant rock climbing wall, maybe not giant, but a really good sized rock climbing wall here. And there's a group of us that gets together 3 days a week around our lunch break, and we just go climb together.
Well, let's go check it out.
Yeah, let's do it.
So Derek, when you first started at Geoge Fox, do you feel like it lived up to your expectations?
It exceeded
Okay.
my expectations. I really love being here. Anything that I could have expected, especially given my last experience, just very different campus. Texas, it's hot, and you don't go outside quite as much, but it's amazing here.
What would you say to someone who's not sure if Geoge Fox would be a good fit for them or not?
Yeah, well, I can say that Geoge Fox cares about its employees. It's a beautiful campus. Everybody is so kind and collaborative. They work together really well. I can tell that the leadership cares about our wellness and our well-being, and I think that if you are interested, you should check it out, see what happens.
Yeah, nothing quite like being here.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Derek. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, so next up, Carly is joining us, and she is also in the Office of People and Culture with Joe. So, Carly, what do you do within the Office of People and Culture?
Yeah, so my role is equity specialist and the deputy timeline coordinator. So my role is under the Inclusive Excellence Department, which is under People and Culture.
So on a practical level, what does your job actually do for the students here?
Yeah, so my role works with students and employees, and it's just looking at equal and safe access to the campus and to education. So based on gender, ability, disability, and race and ethnicity.
Okay. And how would you describe your experience working at Geoge Fox?
Yeah, it has been great so far. I've been here for about a year. I was coming up on a year here soon. And I came from a smaller institution, so being here, it's been nice to have some more resources and just access to bigger teams and whatnot, but everyone has just been really encouraging and helpful and supportive, and I think some of the work that I do can be really challenging at times, but the people that I get to work with are just really helpful and supportive and encouraging of the work that I get to do.
Now, one of the places that we're at, we've been walking around, is the quad, which is actually one of the things that I think draws a lot of students to Geoge Fox. You mentioned it's one of the places on campus that you love. So what do you love about the quad?
During the school year, it's just full of students, and I think in my role, it's more often one-on-one meetings, and they're usually some harder meetings that I have to do. So just being able to walk through the quad and see students having fun and enjoying their college experience, always brings me a lot of joy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, speaking of students, Geoge Fox has what they call the Be Known Promise, which is that every student, they want to make sure every student feels like they are known. Do you feel like that applies to employees as well?
Yeah, I do. I think, within our own team, I get to be known, and then with my role, I work a lot with other departments, and so I get to experience that with other teams, and even in such a large community, there are still a lot of intentionality to help staff to feel that Be Known Promise in like different meetings or activities or things that they do. There is definitely a lot of support and care.
So I guess it all boils down to this one question.
Yeah.
Is Geoge Fox a good place to work?
Geoge Fox is a great place to work.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Carly. Appreciate it so much.
Thank you.
Well, from what it sounds like, listening to the employees, Geoge Fox does seem like a good place to work. So if you're considering moving to Newberg or you're considering coming and working at Geoge Fox, it's definitely worth coming and checking out, to say the least. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you want to learn more about Newberg, what it's like living here, we got tons of other videos on our channel all about that. You can also reach out to me directly if you need to move here. We do help people buy and sell homes, and we'd be happy to do that for you as well. Well, you can check out our channel, and I look forward to catching you in one of the next videos.